I'd like to actually ask the members of Parliament that are present on the panel what part of democracy they don't actually understand. Parliament had a ballot, did it not, in order to have the referendum. They voted 6-1 to have the ballot. You took that ballot, you took the chance, we had the referendum, you didn't get the answer that you wanted, and now you want to turn it round.
The BBC debate was your usual political theatre until one man calmly stood up and shattered the whole charade like a teacup at a punk concert, leaving Angela Rayner armed with smug confidence and well-rehearsed lines, completely off guard, no shouting, no drama. Just one brutally calm question that made her freeze mid-sentence as if someone had hit the off switch. And now everyone is asking, what did he ask? Why did Rayner blink? And is Labour still scrambling to recover from the moment? Stick around, because this one's wild. British politics at its unpredictable best. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Dark Britain. Believe it or not, over 98% of viewers watch our content without hitting the follow button. And subscribing is completely free.
Which of your party's U-turns are you most proud of? The ditching of the 28 billion climate investment plan, keeping the cruel two-child benefit cap, or one of the others?
What I'm not proud of is that we've had 14 years of the Tories and the crashing of the economy, but what I am realistic about is we've got to have a programme for government which is credible, that can grow our economy so we can invest in our green prosperity plan and so that we can eradicate poverty. And I know Labour can do it because we've done it before.
Before we dive in, smash that like button and hit subscribe, because you know you don't want to miss this one. The scene was set, polished stage, overly rehearsed lines, a heavy mix of hairspray, desperation, and recycled promises. The BBC debate didn't feel like a space for meaningful national discourse. It felt more like a reality show reunion without the wine throwing, at least for now. The audience, a mix of curiosity, boredom, and itchy thumbs ready to tweet their outrage, made it clear this was less question time and more Britain's got excuses.
The effects of the Birmingham bin strike have been declared a major incident. They are a national embarrassment, and with 21-degree temperatures forecast later this week, will become a public health emergency. With Labour MPs in Birmingham busy campaigning for an airport in Pakistan, and the Secretary of State unwilling to visit the city or take on the Union Unite, is that because of the tens of millions of pounds her party receives from Unite, or indeed the £10,000 she's received for her own election campaign?
All right, let me ask you about another element of this. On the present densities, you're going to add 3.4 million, or homes for 3.4 million people with your 1.5 million houses. On your own figures, we're also going to add to our population 2.5 million people over this same period. Are you content that more than 5 out of 7 new homes will go to immigrants?
Angela Rayner stepped into the spotlight like it was her big moment, oozing confidence and wrapped in that smug PR polished glow only a career politician can master. Her buzzwords locked and loaded as if knowing the script was the same as having a vision. Her smile was half comforting, half daring. Go on. I dare you to ask something I didn't practice on the ride over. And you could almost hear her internal playlist. Dramatic, upbeat, and totally disconnected from the chaos she was about to walk into.
I'll give way.
Deputy Prime Minister for giving way. By my calculation, Madam Deputy Speaker, if the government is going to build 1.5 million homes over the course of this Parliament, given that we're 9 months into the first year of this Parliament, the government should have built 225,000 by now. Can she confirm how many have been built?
Secretary of State. Well, Madam Deputy Speaker, I think he's just an example of what the mess the previous government left us in. We've been consulting, we've been working with industry, we've had a new homes accelerator, 1,000 more put into the city.
Everything about her body language shouted, "I've got this," as her gaze swept the audience with rehearsed ease and her nods were so smooth they might as well have come with a showroom shine. Rayner was deep in debate autopilot, ready to throw jabs at the Tories, drop a few relatable working-class one-liners, and cruise through the night like someone fueled by espresso and sound bites. Fully expecting this to be her highlight reel, not a full-blown reality check.
You know, the immigration thing, what was it? 700 migrants have arrived in 11 boats. Angela Rayner yesterday announced, or today, she's abandoned plans to give Brits council house priority. Brits who pay their taxes and work. I thought they were going to get... No, you're not getting priority anymore. I'm sorry, that's not happening. No, we're going to give them to migrants. And then even worse, Labour has decided to drop a plan to ban terrorists from social housing. Now, call me mad, right? How the hell does anybody listen to those two things and think that's anything other than bloody disgraceful?
Behind her, the panel looked like a miscast lineup from a tired political play, each waiting their turn to recite speeches we've all heard since 2019. With all the impact of a damp sponge, you could almost see Rayner giving them side eyes, silently warning her backup dancers not to steal the spotlight, while the audience, a carefully arranged sea of polite applause, manufactured concern, and that unsettling stillness that hangs in the air right before someone flips the table, made it seem like Angela was stepping into a cosy bubble of approval and pre-scripted praise.
Angela Rayner doesn't have a unique thought to herself, because Lewis Goodall, who's the one who's interviewing her before the start of that clip, actually says, "Do you think, Angela, that you're the victim of misogyny and classism?" And she goes, "Oh yeah, I am actually." She doesn't have original thought in her brain, quite frankly, Angela Rayner. So she's just gone, "Yeah, well."
But what she didn't know was that tucked quietly in the crowd was a man immune to spin, unimpressed by posturing, and completely uninterested in political theatre. No cards, no filters, no time for charades. The storm was on its way, and then bang, it hit. He stood, no shouting, no dramatic finger pointing, just calm, precise intent, looking like he might ask where the toilets were, but instead, with the chill of a Netflix assassin and the timing of a master conductor, he dropped it. "Why should we believe you now when you've already failed to deliver before?" Silence followed, not the performative kind where someone reaches for a water bottle, but the real kind that sends a chill down your spine and makes everyone suddenly very interested in the floor tiles. Rayner blinked once, then again, as if a loading bar had popped up above her head, reading processing, and no one would have batted an eye.
Government, can I have a ballot?
Can I answer your question? I mean, what I was saying, and my clarity is that I'm not saying and I'm not suggesting we ignore the vote. The vote is quite clear. But as a Member of Parliament, I have a responsibility for British jobs, British workers, and for our public service, and to support that. So you need clarity that we're going to safeguard that.
She tried to answer, really, she did. But all that came out was a scrambled playlist of Labour's greatest hits. A line about economic justice here. A vague nod to community values there, all wrapped in that shiny foil of optimism meant to distract from the fact that nothing concrete was being said. But the audience wasn't buying it, you could see it in their eyes. The same expression people get when they realise a magician's amazing trick is just sleight of hand and pocket fluff. Rayner floundered, trying to patch the holes. But the damage was done. The calm man had pierced the illusion, and now the room was shifting. One by one, other audience members began to speak, not with anger, but with clarity, questions, doubts, straight-up accountability. Suddenly, this wasn't a Labour pep rally, it was a reckoning, and Angela Rayner was no longer the confident frontrunner on stage, but the one under cross-examination. She reached for the usual scapegoats, the Tories, austerity, maybe even the ghost of Gordon Brown. But with every recycled line, the room cooled. Because believe it or not, people are done clapping for slogans written over lukewarm tea and a stack of policy drafts no one reads anymore.
Your job is to represent the public, the people who elect you. Start doing your job. If you don't like it, clear off. Simple as that.
Apparently, Rayner also froze when someone asked her to name one company that backs Labour's employment bills. Just one. Cue another scramble as she launched into a polished monologue about affordability, sustainability, and ambitious targets. The same targets that get moved so often, they might as well be in witness protection. At that point, she wasn't just on the defensive, she was in a full-on freefall. And watching her cling to buzzwords was like seeing someone try to play chess using Connect 4 rules. The moderator tried to jump in, not to save her, this wasn't comic relief, just to move things along. But you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. And this was a political cavity aired out on national TV. It wasn't just a stumble, it was a televised exorcism of Labour's empty promises, brought on not by a rival politician, but by a calm guy who probably came for the free water, and online it went nuclear. Clips were making the rounds before she'd even left the studio. Twitter had already crowned her Angela Rattled Rayner, and TikTok's Gen Z dubbed her voice with cartoon squeaks and filters that made her look like a stunned goldfish. This wasn't just a bad night. This was one for the political blooper reel.
At risk. I'm just saying, do you think you would have a rethink on it?
Well, I think that there was an imbalance, and we spoke to many businesses. They've been working with us to get the Employment Rights Bill forward.
Can you name a company, a few of them, that welcome these proposals?
Well, we've worked with many of the companies. I've worked with so many of them on this. I've had many roundtables, as the business secretary, and they very much welcomed the work that we've been doing on making sure that people...
You must be able to name a few, because I can name all the companies, the recruitment companies, Hayes, Manpower, Randstad. They've signed the letter saying this is the wrong approach. You're going to put jobs at risk. Which are the companies that have welcomed your employment rights?
Well, even the Facebook boomers were getting spicy in the comments. But the real gut punch came from Labour's own ranks. Loyal supporters who used to cheer for Rayner like they were front row at Glastonbury started raising eyebrows, not because they hated her, but because they could smell the panic. When your own voters start asking if you've read your own manifesto recently, that's when you know things are bleak. And this wasn't just a one-off flop. It became a full-blown metaphor for the problem with performative politics. The public's fed up. They don't want another politician who talks in sound bites. They want someone with substance, a real plan, a spine. Rayner, once seen as Labour's fiery voice of the people, suddenly looked like she was reciting lines off a menu she didn't write. And here's the real kicker. The man who asked that brutal question wasn't a plant from the opposition. He was a lifelong Labour voter who didn't want to humiliate her. He wanted answers. That's what stung the most. Rayner didn't just flub a question. She failed to convince someone who was already on her side.
Incredibly disappointed to see the contents of that WhatsApp group. I think it was disgusting, some of what was said in that group, and I'm genuinely shocked by it. It's not what I recognise from the councillors that I interact with, because obviously I'm neighbouring MP and Tameside is my borough as well. And for me, you know, we've got to have standards in public life. People put a lot of trust.
Imagine playing for your home team and missing the goal so badly that your own fans start wondering if you've had your eyes checked. That's exactly what Angela Rayner looked like after the debate. In the post-show interviews, her eyes had that hollow, I already know tomorrow's headlines glaze, the kind you wear when the damage is done and you're just bracing for the spin. And spin Labour did. The machine's words turned into action, PR fluff carefully cropped for graphics, a dash of Tory, blaming classic moves, but the truth, the crack, was already there. The illusion had been punctured. Next time Rayner walks into a room, it won't be applause waiting, it'll be loaded questions and receipts. People aren't wide-eyed anymore, they're watching, measuring, remembering. And if one calm man with one honest question was enough to rattle her so deeply, just wait until she faces a full room of voters who've spent 5 years watching promises vanish like steam off a podium. Because that's the thing about political theatre. Once the crowd figures out how the trick works, the applause never comes as easily.
Angela Rayner, the Right to Buy scheme meant buying her own home and improving her financial circumstances, but it seems such a policy will no longer be afforded to people living in council houses. Up the ladder for Ms Rayner, but it's only snakes for you.
And in this case, The only thing more embarrassing than the question itself was the deafening silence that followed. A silence Labour is still scrambling to spin into something resembling applause. What made this moment so seismic wasn't just Angela Rayner's stumble. It was that the illusion finally cracked. For years, politics has thrived on noise, outrage, shouting, finger-pointing, rinse and repeat. Less about real answers and more about who can make the most viral noise.